And moving this log house isn't easy, but it's going to give kids a hands-on look at history.
You're watching KFES 12, your live, local, late-breaking source for news with Mike Shane, Marianne Maloney, Bob Reeves, and Todd Richards. Now, Heartland News at 6.
Well, some Texas students are going to get hands-on history lesson, all courtesy of the Heartland.
That's right.
High school students from the Lone Star State took apart this old log house in Marshall County. And they took it apart log by log, going to move it all the way to Texas, the Lone Star State. Their teacher tells us he wanted to give the kids a chance to put their hands on a piece of history.
This log cabin is part of a much larger project whereby we're creating an experience for other people. Kids today get to see a lot by putting their hands on a computer mouse and staring at a monitor, but they're not getting to touch a lot. So we're going to create an experience whereby younger folks can touch old logs, experience a log cabin, touch old tools, pull the seeds out of cotton, wrap their hand around a pump handle and pump some water out of the ground, and even crank an old ice cream crank. We want kids to experience nature more.
Well, a moving crew from Texas will come to the Heartland on Sunday, and on Monday morning they're going to pack up all those logs, each one of them specially marked so they can put it back together and then head home with a slice of Western Kentucky.
Don't you wonder how they're going to get that house all back together in the same way they took it apart?
I think they number them and they make a map and everything, or I guess a sketch, not a map.
I'm Sam Sandage. I go to Wylie High School. I was brought on this trip because I'm the detail guy. I made a system so I can put the log cabin back together, and I just do some manual labor.
Hej, mitt namn är Robin Karlsson och jag kommer från Sverige. Och jag tog denna resan för att lära mig mer engelska och för att se hur det är att bygga här i Amerika. Och sen definitivt för att se hur varmt det är, för jag har hört mycket om det.
I'm Robbie Elsey from Wylie High School, and brought on this trip to do grunt labor. Everybody else did. A little bit of sarcasm, make everybody feel okay, even though it was 104,000 degrees.
I'm Shane Breitenstein. I go to Wylie High School. I was brought on this trip to help organize and button up stuff with the trailer and to do grunt work.
My name is Corey Ake, and I'm from Wylie High School. My job on this trip was to be the workhorse and also to be the guy in charge of crew humor.
My name is Jesse Simmons. I'm from Wylie High School. I'm a new guy. I think I was brought onto the team to be a constant worker. I don't really like to stop a lot. And I also can help in problem solving.
Hi, I'm Caleb Lucas. I go to Collin County Community College. I was brought on to be the foreman, keep people safe, and keep things organized.
Hi, my name is Michael Jimrazik. I go to Loyola University in Chicago. I was brought into this team to be the cameraman and general videographer.
Breakfast, go to the cabin, prep the job that we'll do tomorrow. In other words, get it ready to disassemble the logs today, evaluate where we are. This afternoon, probably rip the roof off. It's our main goal here is to get the logs. Document what the logs are, which log is where, mark them, measure them, record that.
Is that archiving?
That's our project right there. About 2 o'clock.
Squirrel.
There's a squirrel and he's got a gun.
Squirrel.
The preservationist in charge.
James Riley, got to meet
Cattle farmer, although he's got one down.
Well, that's what we're going to have shrimp.
Yeah, we saw some pictures. It wasn't in great shape, but pretty old. It just needs electrical wires. Not quite traditional. But
draw a sketch of each of the logs and how long they are. So when we disassemble this, we can go back to Wylie and put it together like this would be our map. Directions for a project. This is one side of the house. Like this is this part, and each of these has a label. And soon we're gonna put how long each of these logs are, so we can put it back together back in Wylie.
This stuff all gets pulled off and pulled away, laid out where nobody will step on it and get hurt.
And right now I'm knocking the nails down so nobody gets hurt on them, and basically cleaning up the outside so we can eventually take all the big logs off.
This is 1A. It's 6 feet long. 7A, 17 feet and 15 inches long.
We're no different than what we found when we were doing some restoration of some buildings in Wylie. The planks that are put in place, covered then by gauze, some plaster, and then the paper was brought in, so perhaps this was the original planking, probably around the turn of the century, the advent of the gauze and the plaster and the paper came in. And that was then the wall covering for many years, followed then by the fact that they came back in. You can see that with some other material over that. They didn't remove the other, they just added the material. This is kind of a high-density cardboard called masonite. Here, what pattern do you see here on this piece of wood?
Circular.
Yeah, so this tells you that this was hand cut. When you look at some older pieces of lumber, you look at them and the saw marks will be a straight line and then a straight line at a little bit different of an angle and a little bit different of an angle, just ever so slightly. That's where somebody, or two people, using a handsaw literally cut this by hand, okay? However, you can see the curve markings here. As this was run through some sort of a sawmill, one tooth is out just a little bit more than the other one, and so it makes a scrape every time it comes around. And then the board advances, and the tooth comes back around and makes another scrape. And then the board advances, the tooth comes around and makes another scrape. So you wind up being able to look at this. And then it's kind of easy to go back and check to say, okay, when were sawmills around here? Obviously, there weren't sawmills here in 1700, and in 1800 were there sawmills here. Did sawmills not get here? So this is again something that you can check, so you can kind of tell the period of something. So harkening that back to your question of were these planks original on the logs? Probably not, because these logs were cut out by hand. Then we see some paint on the logs. Then we see some wood on the logs. Then we see some gauze on the wood. Then we see paper on that, and then over that we see a more modern material, more modern construction technique. And then below that you have your wallpaper. And you have the wallpaper, and then you got another layer of wallpaper, and then behind that, and then so you find a piece of newspaper. We may be able to find some sort of a date or something on the newspaper. And you can see here where the insects or something have chewed on the edge of the newspaper. We open this up, and we find here Yep, November 1935.
So
the Southern Agriculturalist.
So do you know what was in the paint that they painted these logs with?
The recipe for paint called milk paint, and it was, basically you took boiled oil from peanuts or something like that, and you add some color into it and some things, and that's what you put on there. Just like in class how we'll put boiled linseed oil on some things.
Yeah.
You can. That was another sealing technique for this. You put that on there, it oxidizes and kind of seals that. You can add some coloring agents to that.
I got a couple out of
Okay, well that's a keeper. Some of these that are taken down we're going to keep. So
A whole lot easier than I expected.
It's going pretty good. Having a little bit of problems getting the window panes out, but other than that,
They're just a pain. Yeah, I think we're going to be through with prep work in a few hours.
It'd been nicer if the whole thing fell off and laid out into pieces that all we had to do was pick up. We've got everything marked. It looks like an organized mess right now. We're down, we're safe, and nobody got hurt. That was the main objective.
Be careful, they're breaking.
Guys, a lot has happened in the last few hours. Nobody is hurt. The roof's down safely. We pick up something. If it's something we want to keep, we put it in the keeper pile. It's pretty much that simple now. Sam did the brain work by mapping where each log was, how long each log was, where each log goes, and now we can blame Sam if we can't put this thing back together. Exactly. We set you up for failure, Sam.
I know it.
Anyway, we're I think in very good shape. Like I said, nobody got hurt, and that's the most important thing.
We're going to listen to Thelonious Monk on the CD. We are going to grab a little breakfast. We're going to head back to Cabin Hill. And at Cabin Hill, we're going to take the pile of debris, keep that which is keepable, and discard that which is not. It's day 2. It's messy cleanup day.
Y'all want to stay up to midnight running around campus.
As is the case with virtually everything you're ever going to do in life, after you've done it, you know better how you could have done it, or you should have done it, or you learned. And that's the value of experience. Knowing what I know now, I wish we had done the roof removal a bit differently, and that would have been to have unbuilt the roof. If there was a rewind button on life, I would rewind and go back and we would unbuild the roof. Okay.
Hey, we got all of them done at once.
Yep.
Yay! We're good.
Okay.
We are strong.
Lay down.
Set.